All right. Hey, folks, we're going to work on some book cover commission today for Reclaimant, made by Joseph Vargas. Upcoming role-playing game. I'm looking to have it done before the beginning of August, so give me a second here to check my signal, and then we'll get to work. Let's see. Doing a mic check here. Mic check, 1, 2, 3. Doing a mic check here. Sounds like I'm coming through strong. Let's see. I just posted I'm live on Twitter. If you want to find out when I'm live in the future, you can also follow me on Twitter at Phil Kearney. You can check the description down below. I also have Patreon and a bunch of other stuff, books that I also have created that you can check out for Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition that are linked down below. And I don't see any color, so if you want to find out some of the technical stuff involved with monochromatism, you can check the link about that below as well. But despite me not having any color vision, the tools of Photoshop allow me to work in color anyway. So we'll look at some of that today. Check. Looks like we got all our signals going. Everything's uploaded. Let me shift my screens to production. Like, subscribe, hit the bell icon. I do this 6 days a week. Monday through Friday, we create Spelljammer art. Saturday mornings like this, we work on commissions. And then Tuesday, we do development of game mechanics for upcoming 5th edition supplements that we're building for martial characters. And then Monday and Thursday nights, we work on Eberron. When the Spelljammer book gets finished, then Eberron will move to Monday mornings, and we'll do something else. So as products get done and we shift in production, we change what we work on in the evenings and in the mornings. Just keep pushing out content. I'll be doing some playtesting here eventually, probably in September after Spelljammer publishes. And I'll keep you guys updated on what's going on with that and where we're going. But yeah, so this is the rough draft that we have for the cover. I'm going to hit a timer here on my clock, 20 minutes on the block. We got 100 minutes of playtime. Some decent mild roast coffee. This is roughly the cover, but it needs to be cleaned up and bettered. So blah, 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 better. So we're here last session. We built out mountains and hills here in the background. We're going to work on this mid background here to about this line. So we hit the coast here on this side to clean off this edge. So that is what I'm anticipating us doing. We'll see how quickly I get done with it. I'd like to minimum get done with that. So if we drop our rough back in, we know we have this mid-ground region here. Forest, glades, hills, and stuff. Once we complete that, we'll have this this mid-foreground. And that has obviously more detail, deciduous trees, hills, shrubbery that you can see a lot better up here up close. But further back here, you can start seeing more defined tree line, individual copses of trees. And then we move into the foreground here, which is going to be up close shrubbery, tree details and stuff to help frame the image and curl the picture back into itself. So pulling the eye around the piece is what you want to do. You want the eye to sort of circle the image so that it one element leads into another. So you set up this sort of YouTube clips sort of feedback loop where the end leads back into the beginning. So we're hoping to have this framing here continue to pull the eye towards the middle of the page so that you can wander away and then be pulled back into it. So that's the intent anyway. So we're going to look at some references here that we've got going on here for our background. I think where we're at right now is forestry like this. So I'm just going to pick up blues are going on with that. I'm not sure how much I jive with that. Some mild purple going on. Mild green there. A lot of blue in this pick. I'm not sure if I'm happy with that. It was good for mountains, but I don't think it's a good... Maybe this will have... Yeah, this is a better reference here. So we use this as our base color. We'll do some highlighting with this. And then we can use a lighter terrain with this brighter green and then feed it all back into each other. Cool, this will work. I can leave that there. Good plan. All right, so let's see. You know what? Nah. I'm gonna take this base. I'm gonna start there. Right now we're just using a round brush. I think I'm going to immediately move into something more textured. Let's go find something that I like. I'm going to go with this half stroke brush. That's how it looks. It does a lot of, it's got this toothiness to it, so it does some good work for us. But I just want to be here like that. Some color there, and I'm going to work this into the canvas. So if I use color references off of photos that are good, I know that as long as I'm paying attention to the values of light and dark, that the colors will guide us into a space where you color people will be happy with what it is that we're producing, generally speaking. I could always be wrong, but I won't know it until someone tells me. So, hey, if you're a lurker out there and you see something going wrong with the color that I'm using, please do at least ask. It's appreciated. I'm pretty good about not screwing up this far into the process. I've been successfully painting in color for maybe 25 years now. So, and that's all thanks to Photoshop. Honestly, Adobe has fantastic color tools that make it real easy for me to not have to worry about color and just focus on the value of lights and darks, which is, as I understand it, most professional painters are most concerned with value in their pictures, of having enough contrast and light and dark pockets of interest there to so that the value itself, in black and white, value itself can carry. As I've been told by professional artists that see color, I've been told that the color is much less important than the value, because it's the value that ends up carrying makes the composition striking. It's the contrast and the dichotomy that creates a pleasant effect. It's art. You're bringing contrasts together to make them complement. You're creating differences that can be combined together to make something stronger than the individual elements alone can achieve. And I think that's just a wonderful allegory for human spirit and freedom of speech. Not that I want to get political or anything, but the more you can listen to how other people feel, and the more you can recognize the emotions that they carry with their opinion. You don't have to care about their opinion. Their opinions are going to change in time. It's the emotional weight that they put behind the opinions that they hold that's important. Do they hold this opinion because they're indignant about something? Restore honor and dignity to them. Are they frustrated and angry about circumstances, and that's why they hold the opinion that they have? Then give them strength to feel that their convictions are warranted and that they have the right to fight for what they think is right. Like these are just basic human principles that don't really matter what it is that you believe in. It's how you believe. It's why you're believing what you believe. And you can address whether the information is correct or not, because we're lied to all the time. We lie to ourselves the most. So understanding what are the emotional anchors that are pulling at the opinions and the things that we say to each other. Why am I compelled to do X, Y, or B? Once you can start understanding the motives that sit behind things, you can start looking at people not as monsters, but as people that are trying to deal with the set of cards that they've been given, so that they can be humans themselves. And most people are just trying to protect the people that they love. Once you start understanding those human values, you don't have to be scared about what people do. You just have to start paying attention to why they're doing it. You don't have to be scared about people. You don't have to be scared about what their opinions are. You don't have to be scared about what they're trying to do. And honestly, if someone is scary to you, it's probably because you don't have enough understanding of their perspective. And once you start extending that empathy yourself to those around you, then they can't help but start wondering how you feel in exchange. It's just a sense of fairness. I like that base. It's just a subtle lighting there. I bet there's, yeah, it's still coming through as greenish, and that's perfect. But I'm getting this little water lit happening here, and I want to play with that just a touch. So I'm going to grab this bluishness and drop this down to a really small brush. Just have this snake in here like that, and I'm going to blend it in. Make a little, just a little rivulet sort of thing. Just using the contours that just by smudging the here, just to go back and look at this. Look, I've got these breaks, and this very, very small difference in value, but you can see like this little groove here. It feels like a valley, so it literally becomes a valley. That's what we're doing here. So I lay down the water first because that's the lowest point of elevation in a valley where the water goes. Water always finds lowest ground. So you use the water as your base to start creating barriers to break up chunks of land from each other. So you can start building topography on top of those, on top of this. Like this space here is now different from this space here. So this space obviously continues and flows down to the bottom of the page. So this is an isolated chunk here that we're literally cordoning off, so that we can further develop its landscape here. And once that is developed, it sets the frame for us to be able to continue pushing over here. So I'm taking a little bit of time just to smudge this water into the surrounding terrain so that it starts to integrate. The other aspect of landscapes is atmospheric perspective, which is you can tell something's further away because there's less detail and it gets washed out by the atmosphere. Hence, atmospheric perspective. The mass of air slowly disperses a saturated color as it gets washed out by the inherent blueness of the atmosphere around it. So I am currently just fading in this water line so it doesn't look so crisp. And then we're going to take an eraser here at a very low 10% opacity. I'm just going to erase a little bit up like this. fade that into the terrain just a touch. You can see another waterlet like that. And of course, when we go back and look at this, see, like, this doesn't matter at all. It's just going to get eaten up by the forest. But we want it back here. We want to know it exists. It provides soul to the piece. To not just leave what we think the viewer is going to see as the only thing that we bothered to create. It's no, we're going to develop deeper into this work so that we know what exists back there. We know what's concealed. It just adds character for our own process of producing this. So we can have a relationship with the environment that we create, so that we love it, so that we are willing to give it our all from the beginning of conception to the end. If you fall in love with your painting, you'll never let it go. It'll tell you when it's done eventually. And so all you have to do is just love it and attend to it and let it grow and continue to nurture it until it's ready to be done. And then you don't have to worry about it anymore, and you can just be proud. But ain't that parenting? Ain't that just parenting? I wouldn't know. I ain't got no kids. But I'm told that's what parenting is. So I like to see the parallel there as well. We'll do the same thing here. Oh man, that was fierce. Eraser to help blend this in. Same as the other side, just to work it into the canvas so the atmosphere helps indicate its distance, like that. So yeah, 1, 2, 3, 4 pieces that we've broken this all into. So we can get after it. This is how you build up layering, though. This is really good for creating volume in the piece. Going to some blueness happening back there. I think I want to be about here. So we have the water here, and we have another layer here. We can start. See, I'm just taking the contours that we created with the river moving, and now we're just creating a new color dichotomy that's contrasting. There's shadow here, so we want to make highlights on this new mass of land that we're creating here, so that it helps further pop out from the environment behind it. So it starts to, again, we're layering here, mountains to hills to lower hills with brighter contrast as we move further and further forward in the piece. And we can just build this out, a neat little ridge over here, and just kind of let the pixels flow to where they want to go. This will help blend in that backward transition here. All I gotta do is just work this color into and around the curves. And I'll do another one here, like this, when we get to it. Something like that. But we're not there yet. So right now we're just building out this mass here. Just want to blend it in nicely. Nicely. Then we can do another one here. So you want to leave those little dark pockets at the bottom of the hill where it fades into the terrain. That's just allowing the larger scale of the masses of land just kind of curve around each other, and the shadow at the base here is indicative that there's a folding effect happening between hills, and these little valleys here is where the shadows lie. What is it? Ye that I walk through the valley of shadow of death, something like that. There's a valley of shadows, right? That's all we're trying to indicate here. We can curve this around. Here, just to show that curve in the terrain a little bit like that. And then we can do another one here. Okay, hills are established. Now we're going to build another layer. We're going to back, mid, base. Back, mid, hills. That's our base. And we're going to build on top of that. This is too close. This amount of, I'd say this level of resolution is probably around here. Let's drop our rough in. Yeah, right about here is where we're going to see this amount of detail, where you can actually see trees being separated. So we don't actually have to worry about that until we get to, well, like we have here, individual sticks here showing separation, while we only have like little pock marks back here to indicate more blended forest. So we're staying on point there. Back this far, all we need is massive color. So that's what we're going to grab at, see what we can get, say, here for some color dichotomy, and then we can use this. That's too sharp of a bright, but we can use a low opacity setting so that we slowly work that color in. So for now, we're already using this brush. So we're going to flatten this brush out. Same brush, just much flatter now. Don't flatter yourself. We know this is where the hill's at, so we're going to take about 30% opacity here, and we're just going to do little dots, like little stipples here, kind of like steps, like you know, PPES steps, and start creating texture. This little line weight here to indicate where these hills are going. I can turn the brush over and I can work a little curve like this into the terrain. Same brush, smaller size as we move further back away towards the horizon. Excuse me. God, that sneeze really just knocked some phlegm loose in my body. I take an eraser. I'm going to change the eraser. I'm going to use the more curved version of the tool here. See, here as opposed to here. Same brush, just yeah, same brush. So we have the eraser down to a very low 10%. I can just tap at this to blend that in a little bit more. I'm only erasing 10% at a time, so 90% and then 89%, 78%. I'll erase some of that so we can get rid of that texture. Well, hi, thank you. Here's the, oops, let me get rid of the reference here for you so you can see, and I'll get rid of the trade dress as well. Yggdrasil descending from heaven to root into the planet. The role-playing game Reclaimant is it's Joseph Vargas's work. He actually does a lot of really good Pathfinder work and other small indie projects. But this one is about the spirits of nature taking vengeance on humanity for the Industrial Revolution. So that's the era that we're working at. A couple hundred years ago would be the rough timeline where the spirits of the planet are awakened in a sort of Princess Mononoke sort of approach of nature taking umbra. What is it? Hubris? No. There's a word there. I know there's a word there. Umbrage. Is that it? Taking umbrage with humanity for their crimes against nature. Having a very direct effect to it. So next thing we want to do is take this this much brighter color here. Here we'll go back to 100% here so you guys can see just how sharp that color is right now for the rest of the composition. I mean, in comparison, this has got a lot of radiance coming off of it, but this is a lot of bright value and saturation compared to what we show further back. So I'm going to use that color, but we're going to drop it down to a 30% so it's not so strong. And I'm actually going to switch to this brush here. It's a it's a fern / vine frond sort of brush that when I work when I use it together, like when I layer it together, it makes really nice little floral patterns very easily. And with the curved nature of the brush that I use, it's easy for me to be able to create cool little patterns that can play with each other. So I can, depending on where we're at in the piece, depends on how much individual foliage that you can actually see. So this isn't actually very useful right now in that format, but if let's see. If I do this well, so let's start back over here. So all we're doing is the same process of like little clumps of islands of microbiomes and little hills of nature. It's not good wording. Make a small 30 pixels should be fine, so I can do this. just dot that on there. And then I can take the same eraser here with a 20, let's go 20%. So I can erase at that using the same texture brush that I used to erase at the terrain underneath this. Work that into the canvas a little bit more. And then I can pull at it with this blending brush, the same brush that we used 2 sessions ago to make the clouds. So if you want to see me doing the clouds, you can check the 2 episodes back in the playlist. But there, see, now we have some like little sharp little scraggles here, but they're really, really far back, so they don't really stand out as their own little entities, which is exactly what we want. We don't want anything to stand out individually, but we can have that broken skyline here with the dark backdrop behind it. So you see how that's working together. We're using the contrast of the shadows to help make the toothiness of the upper edge of this crest stand out a little bit more in the terrain. So we're just going to blend it in a little bit here. We're going to float over here. I'm just going to dot some of this in like that. So I paint 6 days a week. I'm doing Fantasy Space Pirates Spelljammer. If you're familiar with the Spelljammer setting with Wizards of the Coast, Dungeons and Dragons, or TSR from the 90s, then I'm creating art for that. If you don't know what I'm talking about, if you've seen Treasure Planet, the animated movie, it's a space pirate fantasy adaptation of Treasure Island. And the quote-unquote Spelljammer aesthetic of fantasy space pirates is very, very much present throughout that movie. And so that's the current project that I'm working on Monday through Friday, a D&D book to provide mechanics for combat and exploring space and that sort of a motif. That is the proper use of the word motif. I don't want to kill that top horizon, but I don't want it to be so strong, so I'm just going to erase at it a little bit there. And again, this isn't even important because it's going to get buried by forest, but we know it's back there, and that's important. Now we'll do another layer. And we'll do the same thing again. I'm going to first take this same brush here with the darker color. That one. I'm just going to stipple this stuff in. So we're moving further forward in ground just by moving further down the page, moves us further forward in the piece automatically. And that matters with this horizon or this water line that we have here, which isn't very well defined right now. But as we continue working on this, it does become more defined. I'm going to use some smudge here just to blend this further in to the ground ahead of it. And I can stipple over that here. I see more opportunity. I want to finish this crest, but then I'm going to pursue something that I saw. So give me a second here to continue working this forward. See, I want to darken this down because we're about to do another ridge like this. So I want to put this darkness, the shadowing effect as a separate layer to help push down that height like we were talking about back here. Blend that in a little bit and push it in. Just let it blend into the terrain. This is a smudge brush. It's a smudge brush that I built for cloud work. Not bad. I need to finish my thoughts on this before I move on to the next piece. So I want to move over here to make sure I'm moving in tandem with everything. The next is going to be like this. So I need to drop in some dark here as well. And smudge that in so we can get that, again, that valley approach. There. Oops, now we want to create another layer, and we'll go back to the same color that we had there, and we'll grab this same brush that we used, and we'll make it a little bit smaller. There, and now I can erase a little bit at the bottom of it so I don't hit the top edge, and then I can smudge it in a little bit. There. Get out of here, Creative Cloud. No one likes you. Some more dark here and pull that down with our smudge brush. That sets us up for the next hill, so I'm pretty happy about that. Brush and blend. Just do it over and over again. Has this been our first 20? Yeah. That feels pretty good. All right, so we're now ready for the next crest. So I'm going to put this all into its own separate layer, like that. Which is separate from the terrain itself, which is separate from the mountains. It just keeps stacking and stacking. I keep making more and more little blocks. So I can lock that block down. I can take this back layer here and I can grab some of this blue again, and I feel like there's a river inlet sort of thing happening over here that I wanted to give just a little bit of attention to. And a little bit of water back there, it's peeking through. Raise that up a little bit. There's a little bit more water language going in there. actually want to... No, I want to do this. Excuse me. Faux reels. Blend that a bit. Cool. All right, I'm just content with that. Now we can start the next hill. No, we want to use this brush. I'm going to take this one to 100%. Build another landmass and then blend that in. Build the landmass and blend it in. Build the landmass and then blend it in. Build the landmass and then blend it in. Over and over again until you hit to the bottom of the page. Hey, timely timer, that's a 20-minute mark, so I'm going to take a sip of coffee. Chase it with some cool water. So we got this hill that we're building up here now. That. And just, again, blend this all into the terrain itself. See, it's like a natural little island, like land and hills. Hills are the little islands where the base, like the horizon flat of the earth is sea level, right? Literally sea level. And then all these hills, ridges, and mountains that pop and cascade across the landscape are their own little islands and like archipelagos of microbiomes inside of the larger forest or glade system that it sits inside of. So when you break up your terrain into these little chunks, you start thinking about building little islands as their own little narratives. And that's just, if you get into sea, like depicting ocean work or Oceania stuff, then you'll that tendency to do that will just naturally occur as islands themselves, like literal islands. But here we are figuratively generating little islands inside of the environment. So I think I pontificated that. I think I repeated myself enough there. So I can, I can move on from that description now, hopefully. Build that out. We can have another hill here that cuts across like that. The shape of the land shows us where it goes. So I can do that. See, it makes this nice little rolling land effect. So now all I have to do is cover it with greenage of one sort or another, and then that should be good to go. that in here. So we have in the making, so another island here and another island here, which creates an island here like this. So we're creating all these little, again, all these little pockets of hill and conjoining, like a hex grid, you know, like a hex grid is like this, and then I have another hex like this, and then that creates another hex like this. These things are all interlocking as hexes, right? Anyway, that's sloppy, but that's the same thing that we're doing here with these little pods or little island breaks in the terrain in the ground. So, but I'm getting a little ahead of myself. This is a little bit too far forward here, so I'm going to cut that out. You cut that out, and there. Nope. Like that. Just like that. So we can take this. We can blend that down. Blend that down, blend that in. Keep it from being trouble. There we go. Very good. All right, we got that set. That's okay. We'll come over here and we'll blend this in here like that. Go back to our reference. Let's grab. That feels pretty good. All right, now we're going to use a different texture brush because I want to. I'm going to use this is called my Horizon Line Tree Spin Brush. It looks like this. And if I manipulate it, it becomes more squat. I'm going to take it to about like that. Take it down to a really low brush size. Yeah, too sharp. You know, much lower. Let's go 30%. And my eraser here, I'm going to take the eraser to 30%. So I'm going to chop at the bottom. And I'm going to do it again. Chop at the bottom. And do it again. Chop at the bottom. And do it again. Increase the size just one tick. It's like, what, 40? Yeah. Then erase, chop at the bottom. I'm going to do it again. Cut away at the bottom. Let me do it again. Chop at the bottom. Let me do it again. Chop at the bottom. Let me do it again. And chop at the bottom. There. Very mild texturing, barely even matters. Like, it's almost completely irrelevant, but it takes so little effort to produce it. I'm just doing a quick erase swipe across it to cut away at too much detail. See, it doesn't take any real effort to create that, so why not take a few minutes to add that colored texture language in here like this, and then swipe away at the bottom. I'm stippling, a little tap, 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 tap as we go across the top of the hill. Tap, 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 and then blend it in by erasing just a touch, and then Increase the size a bit. Tap, 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 tap into it. And then erase. Let that blend in. Tap, 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 and then blend it in. Tap, 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 and then blend it in. Tap, 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 and then blend it in. Tap, 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 blend it in. And tap, 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 and blend it in. There. Just creates a little bit of color texture. You can see the starts of little scrubbage going on in there. It's just texture. It's just texture right now. That's all we need it to be. And then we have here, we can take this landmass, we can actually push it up like that a bit. And blend this in a bit like that. Switch our brush to a roundy. Zero. I'm creating a broad ridge here to separate this back here from here. I'm creating a new block. Like this here is a block. So now I'm creating a new block. And again, we start just with a base dark color that we just blend into the canvas as we push forward. So all we really need is this contrast. That's all we really want, is little shocks of contrast to create little color interests here and there. See? I can paint this over. And blend that in. Just playing with the opacity here just a little bit to take off some of the strength on there. This is the one. Like that. Good. Don't want it to pop out too much. That's good. That's good. Good. This one. Bring that down a little bit just to keep it all in line. All right, back on point. Not that we were off point. It's just I had to go back there and just nurse those, how bright that color information was, so that it didn't outweigh. It can't be too sharp this far back. It needs to the dichotomy, the contrast of brights and darks will increase as we move further and further in the page, and this is only midpoint. So we want this to be a natural. Here, let's look at the piece overall. There's a lot of brightness happening here. Bright to hard dark, to bright into a faded dark, into bright into dark, into a mid-tone. So light dark, light dark, light dark, and then mid. And so that allows our eye to get out of this bouncing effect of light, dark, light, dark, light, dark, light, dark. And then it fades into gray, which becomes a resting area for the eye as you transition from the sky into the ground terrain. Just naturally creates a breathing spot for the eye to be able to take a moment. And then as we go across the water here, we've got the highlights that are blushing across the middle here. That creates bright, high, mid, dark. So we got dark, mid, high, mid, dark. So we have that same sort of bounce effect back and forth. So up and down and back and forth. So it's just a layer of light, dark, light, dark, light, dark, light, dark that lets the eye just naturally play with the depth of that. So that's the idea. Anyway, that's the idea behind it. That's why we're doing it the way that we're doing it. It's a fun place for the eye to be able to let itself fill in the details and imagination of what it thinks is happening there, which is what good painting does. Good painting allows the eye to think it knows what it sees, because that engages your imagination to fill in the missing bits. Like if I provide enough color information to encode for you what it is that we think we're looking at, then your eye will do the work of filling in the details where it believes there should be. We're cheating, effectively. Speaking of cheating, let's do this. Beep, 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 beep. Let's just dot this on across here. And then we can erase at the base of it. We'll probably have to end up in reducing the opacity on this as well in the end. But for now, we just want to chop at it just a bit. I can come up with another one like this. There, and then we can up. Chop, chop, chop. Chop, chop, chop. I'm going to grab and smudge that down. There, like this. Chop, chop, chop. Honestly, with these type of things, when you're doing this kind of texturing, not caring is a good way to go. Like the less thought and effort you put into it, and you just let the pixels do the work. You just use the tapping of it to layer in the information for you, and just recognize that the majority of what you do is going to get erased anyway because you're just trying to create texture. I really don't like it smudging though. You want to keep good tap, good stipple separation on stuff, so that it has its own individual, so it doesn't just become a clump. Basically what I'm trying to say. Right now I'm just kind of playing around with different cascade effects and how these things stack up on each other. And I'll probably drop the opacity on this so it's almost completely invisible. But I just want its presence. I want the pixel information in here as a subtle texturing. Because again, we're really far away from the camera, so we don't need a lot of individual information. Like these don't need to stick out as individual trees. But when I pan back like this, it blends in pretty well. And that sets us up for the next crest. So I'll drop that into the back mid hills, and then we'll jump back into here. Now we're going to, let's grab a darker here. So now we're working on this area, and we're damn near done with that spot. Just a little nib here, but this is where we're at here. Now we go back to our our rough. This we can actually start having a little bit of actual texture here. When we get to here, the rough, like this, we can have actual tree separation, this little clump here before it gets eaten up by the foreground. So we are getting close. We're at what, 10:30, so we still have a half hour, so we can get through this. I'm just going to add this in as a much darker effect than before. Actually, how do I want to do this? I want to do it kind of like this. Thank you. So I've got a half hour before I'm on notice. I'll be having brunch with my gal sometime soon-ish. Just waiting for her to finish up her morning duties to jump into life with her. So we have a half hour officially online here, and at that point, it's instant death to the stream. I could cut out at any time. We're gonna make this. This is cool. We're gonna make like this little inlet ridge thing here, like this little pocket inside of here. If you can see that happening. That's cool. I didn't expect that. I didn't know this was going to happen. But I dig it. I dig it a lot. I'm going to see where it takes us. It takes us into the mid foreground. Mid foreground is the word I was attempting to find there. I'm gonna cut into that like that. I'll make that pop. I don't want to be too much of a hill, so I'm gonna cut it down. I don't want to make a mountain out of that molehill. Just blending in the color information. Just being super casual about it. That. A little crisscrossy things going on inside of here to help blend that all together. There we go. And then wipe across, help blur. There. Do the same thing over here. We can cover all this. We can cover all this up again with foliage. The greenage. This much darker landmass is more akin to what we have back here. But that again is that light dark patterning that we've been establishing throughout the piece. It still is being maintained here in these ribbons. So, but these hills are going to get covered over. It won't stay this dark. This is just the underlying information about the land where the greenage grows upon. So, the darkness of this value is going to get washed away pretty quickly by putting a forest on top of it, essentially. But the aesthetic is there. It's the intent of that light dark rhythmic wave effect across the terrain. Grab this and pull that in like that. I don't know. I can't see in my mind's eye exactly what this stuff is all supposed to be, but I can feel it, kind of like how you can anticipate like what the next drop in a song is going to be, or like when you're going to switch from chorus into a bridge back into the main verses, going back into the verses of the music. Verse, bridge, refrain, bridge, verses is kind of the flow of a song. This is that same sort of song. It's just a visual aesthetic instead. So let's pull back a bit, take a look at this. Let's grab our reference image. Let's again grab some green. We're going to use the same curved brush here. We'll flatten out the curve. Actually, we can probably just go in here and flatten out the curve like that. Like that. Go down to a 20% opacity so I don't overwhelm the terrain too quickly. Just going to tap at it. So this is going to first take off the edge of how dark the terrain is compared to the stuff directly behind it. I don't want too much of a transition too suddenly unless it is a radical step forward towards the camera from the background. And since this is an overhead sweeping shot, we won't have sharp terrain change until we hit this ridge line here, which is kind of like a hill that drops off, but the camera angle, you can't see down the hill. So it just looks like a sudden change from distant background texture into detailed brushwork and ground, like actual ground. Yep. Uh-oh. Did I do a goof? I did do a goof. I forgot to create a separate layer. Fuck this green. Dirk nabbit. Hopefully I won't be punished and I have enough rewind to get rid of all of it. Oh, cool. Whew. I needed to have a separate layer and I didn't. There. That is what I should have been doing. Separate layer. What a kick. There. I can actually use the contours here by turning my brush and working into, I can even turn this one upside down to work on that curve effect like that. Actually really tempted. Let's see what this does. Can we get away with this? Is it a good idea? I don't know. If I do that, I want it to be less. Not convinced yet this is the right thing to do. Versus, I think there's something to it, but I don't think I want it dipping in quite so harshly. I think I do want the water to break up the edge here a little bit though. So we'll do that. Nice. It's a little bit, a little change in color tone here, which kind of implies a reflection coming off of that ridge. I'm actually really happy with that. All right, cool. We're good with that. Get back to it. Actually, it turned out really well. I'm really happy with that. Drop that just a bit. Since I'm using this as a low 30% opacity, it's only a third of the color information that I would normally have, but each tap 30 to 40 to 52, and eventually it completely fills the pixel. So I erase at this a little bit to blend that in, and then do another one here. And then erase it a bit, another one here. There. grab this. Cut that. There, now we can officially move into the next section. So far we've done all of this here is what we've this is basically what we've done so far today. This little strip in here in the past, what, hour and 10 minutes that we've been live. So now, for the next however long we have left, we got another 20 some odd minutes or so before we're on call. So we're going to work this mid ground here. I'm going to actually take this here. I'm going to switch to this brush here. Start working that. Go 100%. Maximum effort. Now let's remind ourselves where the mass is at. This is where our foreground hits. We also have so very foreground. Very foreground, mid foreground, and then drop back. So right now, all we have to work. See, this is gone. This water line is here. That's resolved. Right now, all we have to do is work on just this little pocket right here. That's the only thing that we're working on right now. And once that pocket is done, which is going to be a higher level of resolution or a higher level of detail than the stuff behind it, but less so here. So we're in a transition state. It's a very small transition area that we're working on. So we're going to create this as foreground here, the start of the foreground. We'll call this midground right here. Start blending that in. Work that in. This is where we can start actually allowing ourselves more dichotomy in general. Although this is going to be darker. It's just going to be dark. I'm going to have pops of light here. And then we'll have dark here and pops of light here. So we'll have this like the central column of light coming off the tree all the way down the piece. We got to get there. We're not there yet. keep that line clean on that waterfront. Because my muse tells me to. Blend, 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 blend. Oh. Clean that up a touch. Good. All right, so we got the base. Next we're going to do let's be there, and then this can be here. Now let's get into this feels right. So let's do this. Use the same brush as an eraser. Thank you. I don't need any coffee right now. I feel pretty good. Push that up. And blend that in a little bit with the eraser here. Just tap and smudge just to push the pixels out. Just to take some of the edge off of that dark. Eraser. More smudge brush here, just pulling at the edges a little bit to bring it in. And then tap, tap, tap. Erase that a bit, and then tap, 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 tap it in. Tap, tap, erase. Tap that in and erase. Pretty good. And then we are going to take this brighter, and then let's see. Yeah, let's use that one. All right, so we use your eraser to blend that down a little bit. I don't mind this spilling out into the water because we're going to erase almost all of that. Just like that. just a line there, and now we can go in here, the second line, like that. See how that works along that coastline there? God, that's fucking awesome. I love this. I just love it. I love it. I love it. I never get sick of it. It's just so, the brushes do a lot of the work, but all it is just me creating brushes off of different. I'll spin a session at some point here building brushes with you guys so you can see how I make these things. Blend that in, and then I can come back through here like that. I need to pull that horizon, that water line in a bit there, like that. Good. There. And I'm tap and then pull, tap and then pull, tap and pull. That's the motion that we're doing here, tap and pull. So you want to keep the top edges of these things intact because that's where you're seeing the top of the foliage. So you want to keep that intact, but everything underneath it is subject to destruction. But this is where I was talking about seeing the individual plants at this point. You can see it. It's the texture is there. The layering of the dark under painting and the highlight of the brightness of this foliage being dropped over top of it creates the illusion of forest. It's just really effective and easy to do. It's just stipple, erasing, and smudging, just like Bob Ross does. It's the exact same thing. All we're really doing is just doing exactly the same thing that Bob does, except that we're using a digital canvas instead of a wet oil canvas. But it's the same techniques, so the effects and the results are similar and pleasing. There. Now it's just a matter of being patient and building it out. Erase that a little bit to help that all blend in together a little bit more smoothly there. Fucking magical. I think I'm going to drop a little bit of darkness in this area here. Right in here. I think there needs to be maybe like a lake. Maybe a little lake would be really fucking cool there. I'm going to finish off this topography here real quick before we go working backwards. So give me a second here. That's horrible. So let's just be very gentle in tapping this stuff in. I think this is going to be the last ridge that we need to do for this particular block. That's what we want to do. Just like that. Just like that. Mirror. Like that. Come on, guy. Right. No. That'll do, pig. That'll do. All right, taking that into account, I see an opportunity. I can drop the opacity on that a bit to have it fade into the terrain some. Get rid of that. Merge down. Not bad. I'm pretty happy with that. Oh, shit. Wow, that's cool. Fucking cool is that? Huh? Are you not entertained? Have I not earned your like and subscribe? Hey, hello. What's up, Cash? Push that out like that. I think I need to cut, paste, and then drop this a bit. Just a touch. Let's get the work into the rest of the environment. I think that's fun. I think that's a lot of fun. Hell yeah. Let's merge this here, and then we'll hit our eraser again here. By stippling at the edges here, we can get this improv little river piece to blend into the terrain a little bit better. I am very, very pleased with that. But again, this is going to be almost completely destroyed when we drop in these trees, but we know it's back there. We know it's back there, and that's what's important. I love that. Water. Perfect. Cool. There's that, and then here's our mid-ground here. Here's our foreground. We're currently working on the mid-ground, so we're going to create... I still have time left for another little piece. So let's get dangerous. We'll go to reference. Cash, how you doing today? Was this how'd you find me? Was it just something that cropped up as a what to watch, or most of my audience comes from D&D enthusiasts, so it's always interesting to see where new faces are coming in from. I think I want to... That feels right. Good. That's a very, very dark blue, so that's perfect. So we can take that and scritch my chops. Glad to hear it, my guy. Make sure at 100% opacity, and then drop this in here. I got like maybe 5 minutes left, 10 minutes, something like that. It's 11:05 now, so I am officially on call. Which means I could be dropping off any time. I've got a date with an angel coming up. Going to do some brunch. That's typical Saturdays. So Saturdays I work on this Reclaimant book cover. We're getting very, very close. We have until the end of the month to finish it, and we're already pushing into the foreground. But it's just a Bob Ross landscape, you know. So, damn, always late. I start at I'm in Seattle, so I start around 9 a.m. here in Seattle on Saturday, and on weekdays, Monday through Friday, I'm on typically around 6 or 6:30 in the morning. And then anywhere from 100 to 120 minutes is typically what I put in at a block. And then Monday nights, I'm around, typically from, again, Seattle Pacific time here, like typically around 7-ish till 9 or so. Thanks for letting to be here, though. That's very sweet. I'm creating a little ridge here. That seems pretty fun to do. Block that in like that. Nope. Again, we're just making little pockets, just like little individual landmass islands. And as we get closer, you can see we have more and more detail. God, I fucking love how that brush works. That is such a great brush. I'm going to put another 20-minute mark on here, but if my phone starts to ring, I am just going to fat out cut stream. So I'm going to up and ghost you guys when my phone call comes through. So I love you very much. Just be aware. I will kill stream. You've been warned. But we'll be back again on Monday morning. We're doing ship combat art for Spelljammer's Combat and Exploration interior artwork right now. I'm having a ton of fun with the ships. They're resolving the art of them, the architecture and geometry of them are resolving much easier than I had anticipated. So I am absolutely thrilled about that. It is going to be a damn good looking book when it is done. I am possibly my best work yet. Really freaking thrilled with it. The color mana system for D&D was a hell of a feather in my hat, but I think the Spelljammer product is just a real step up in just my overall development. So I'm very excited about that. But this is a very, very small patch of ground that we're working on right now. Let's create another layer, and we'll grab our reference here. We can grab that, and we can grab this. There we go. I think I'm going to use a different brush. What do I want to use? Let's go with the Shrubbery Faded brush. Let's see how this one sits. This might be a nope. It's okay. We'll use it a bit, but we're probably going to end up erasing a lot of it. As we are wont to do. Raise it up a little bit, and then erase some more. Doom, 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 doom. Boom, 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 boom. Yeah, that is not the right brush for the job. Let's switch out. Let's go back to the one we were using. Good old reliable rock. Wins every time. Poor Bart. Always chooses rock. Let's stick with this for now. Just tap, tap, tap. Tap it away. Tapping it away. I feel like I need a different brush. Hold on. Yeah, we'll go with this one. We'll see how this one susses out. Oh, this has got potential. So gorgeous. Look at that. God, that's so good. Like, I have a rough idea of how this stuff... I feel like I need to blend this back ridge in a bit. There, just to work the colors in a little bit better. Too hard of a line. I needed to soften it up a little bit. There, softer. God, this is so good. Look at that shit. This is fucking dope. So I press this button. Nope. Definitely has to be vertical one way or the other. Believe it or not, I've never used this brush this way before. Normally, I use this for much closer foliage, like foreground work, to fill in branches. I've never used it for just raw forest before, like this, like distant forest shot. It is a great brush for this. Holy Hannah. That's why I sound so impressed with myself, because I've never done this. You know, never used the brush this way before, so it's a discovery. I'm gonna increase the size of the brush just a touch because we're moving further into the foreground at this point. Wow. Wow, 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 wow. We just continue to increase the size of the brush just a touch every time, every next row that we build here. It's basically like 40 pixels at a time that we're advancing this tree line. But if we continue to increase the size of the brush with each pass by 5 pixels-ish, fakes the effect for us. Again, our eye wants to make sense of the piece. If it's aesthetically pleasing, our eye is going to be very forgiving and try to suss out the logic as to like how this all works together, and it's going to go, oh yeah, forest, and it'll do the work for us. We're at 60 now, 70. All right, so there's a uniformity problem that we're starting to have here, which means I need to break out of doing the vertical lines. I need to start working into clumps like this. Little micro clumps like that to break things up. Again, it's not the brushes that make the art good. It's the artist designing the brushes that know what their use is for. Like this little texture thing here is creating these little natural pockets of shadow that the eye reads as foliage, as tree scruff. And that is, I had to experiment with creating these brushes to get the technique that I wanted for the style of art that I do. It may not necessarily even be good for anyone else, but it works for me. So digital artists really should explore, like get to learn to use just a round brush and square brushes well, so they know what they can accomplish just through just normal proper line, like just normal stroke work. And once you get good at being able just to create stuff with normal brushes without any fanciful techniques, that's when you can start to see where your specific patterning language comes from, that you can start to consider, how will a brush make this process that I do easier? Like what can I do specifically with my technique that would be improved with a brush, instead of what brush can I find out there that will allow me to get better faster? Because those brushes don't make you better. They help improve techniques that you've already developed and you know work for yourself. So brushes are kind of a trap, which is why I don't really offer them. Like, I don't sell my brushes. Not yet, anyway. I don't know. Maybe I should. There we go. We're getting close. Good. Yeah, there we go. So where do I want to? I feel I need to break this up. So I'm going to block that off there. And then get back into our reference. Round brush. Like that. I'm not 100% satisfied. Something like that. It's better. Okay, now we can. Now we can like this. Just this little shred of land that we have left, and if we can finish that up, I'd like to finish that up on camera, but I mean it'll be done today. Again, on call, so I could drop out. I could drop out at any moment, but I am hoping that I can get this last little ridge effect resolved before I step out for the day. And once, if I can, just this little block here, if I can get that resolved, then we can then we'll be on the foreground next week. Where are we at? So we'll have next week and the following week, as well as Monday night if necessary. So we have 3 more sessions, 2 or 3 more sessions, just to do foreground, which is insane. We are right on path to finishing this by August 1st as intended. So at a very casual pace. Very, very casual pace. So we got a rough. Yeah, right on. Okay, cool. So reference equals. Let's find something sharp. Yeah, I'm okay with that. Let's switch up the texture. Let's go with how do I want to do this? Let's see how this guy sits. Probably not. Yeah, that's not looking good. All right, well, we might have to just go back with what we've been doing. I'd like to do something different, though. Let me, let's go with the half strokes. We'll start here. Absolutely wrong brush. I'm so in love with that brush tip that we were using. It's just never used that before, and it's absolutely just crushing it. Go find our brush. All right, well, I guess we'll stick with it. Well, that's helping a lot by adding that curvature to it. That adds an extra layer of detail that the layers further back there don't have. So this is actually a really good idea. That's der. Get out of there, scallywag. Thank you. No, I absolutely don't like that. I prefer the brush this way. Almost there. Not bad. Not bad at all. There we go. Dee 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 dee. Not bad. I keep saying not bad, but only because I'm pleased. Just trying to get the foliage density right. How do you like me now? Oh yeah. There you go. Not bad at all. So let's drop this down here, there. Get that opacity up. There we go. I'm just adding in some color to break it up. Oh my god, look at that. This fucking looks great. Whew, man, oh man, oh man, Drake. I think we got ourselves a painting here. So that is sitting pretty good. I think we're going to, wow. I think we're just going to leave that be for now. So we hit our objective. We hit our goals for the day. The next thing we have, whew, man. Front mid, and then we'll call this mid. There you go. We can lock that. Nope. Lock and lock. Wow. Wow. It's forestry up in here, yo. So let's see. We can, from here, this is coming along very nicely. Let's look at our rough. So when we come back, all we really got to do is fill in sketch like I'm feeling. I'm feeling it. True transform. not quite. That's this is basically so all we have to do is this foreground piece here, which is no more color information than what we had already done here. So this is about the same amount of block of effort as this is going to be. So there's a decent chance that we're going to be done with this next weekend. If I really want to go for style and detail, then we'll hang on to it for the next week. But I am anticipating being done, either the 22nd or the 29th, ahead of our August 1st deadline. So I've got 3 hours to do some foreground trees. Give me a break. That's awesome. And then from there we're just working with style. But this is basically the color composition that we're looking. I mean, basically, like the color is going to be a little different, but this is very similar to what the color, the values of the piece are supposed to be in the end. So that is going to end up being very like the black white image recognition. That's about where we're at. So like on a website like One Bookshelf or DMsGuild or Pathfinder Infinite or whatever, like Twitch.io. This is about what the book cover would look like. And hopefully that's something that's interesting enough that would make people want to click into it so they can see the higher resolution image of this, which they could then click into to see sample pages of the book, however it is that Joe ends up setting this thing up. So, but this is where we're at right now. I am very happy. I'm going to go ahead and cut stream here in a moment as soon as I get done winding down off the high of production. Not a bad piece. If we do get the foreground taken care of next week, then on the 29th we'll come in and we'll probably just fiddle with details, like I can already imagine like some stone pillars popping out of the forest over here, or like some sort of broke down structure like black stone back here, just to break up that space a little bit, and a little bit more reflection and water rippling. But for the most part, this is pretty good. I mean, the detail is there. I could actually probably spot in a little bit of texture back here. It's a little thin in texture here between the mountains and the forestry we have going here. So I think I can afford to spend maybe a half hour or so back here just dropping in just a tiny little bit of pixel, like just some stipple back here, just to break up the monotony of the color. But we'll get there. This has been a sick project to work on, man. I am thrilled. So I'm going to hit save here. We're done. I'm not here on Sundays. It's my day of rest. Monday we'll be back bright-eyed and bushy-tailed to continue ship art for the Spelljammer book. We'll be back Monday night to continue the cartography for the Eberron Adventure village map that we've been working on. We'll stick with Spelljammer art in the mornings till Friday. We'll have Eberron on Monday and Thursday night. Tuesday lunch, we'll be continuing with the mechanical development of the martial power system so that 5e martial characters have a resource and flexible options similar to casters without having to rely on spell casting to do it, as a sort of like off maneuver system. So that's our loadout for the rest of the month. Spelljammer should be dropping into DMsGuild with a very extensive full preview, so you can look at all these mechanics without having to buy it. I want to just, I'm anticipating that being out like at the end of August is where my heart feels like it's going to land. Maybe in the first couple weeks of September, but it's incredibly close to being done at this point. And so yeah, if you're lurking, thanks a lot for hanging out. And if you've just enjoyed the study hall atmosphere, that's how this thing kind of flows. So I'd love to have your support, your subscription, bell icon, yada yada. And there we go. That's it. All right, so I'm out of here, and I hope to see you guys in the future. Thanks a lot for being here.